Welcome to Talent Matters, the talent management podcast from PSI. We are the world's leading talent experts, working with clients across the globe to screen, select, develop and engage, delivering over 30 million assessments every year. The world of work is changing at an increasingly rapid pace, and we want to share our leading insight to discuss the main challenges organisations are facing in 2021. In our first series, we will focus on assessment and selection in the reshaped world of work, inviting our guests to talk about their real-world talent challenges and how they have overcome them. Our aim is always to focus on practical takeaways for you. So thank you for listening. Hello and welcome to today's podcast, where we'll be talking about all things candidate experience, focusing on the things that candidates really value when applying for jobs and the key things that organisations need to be mindful of when designing their end-to-end recruitment process. And joining us in this episode is Katrina Collier. Welcome, Katrina.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. My favourite topic.
Thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I am, now officially I call myself author, facilitator and a speaker. I have been in the recruitment industry for, something like 18 years. Mm-hmm. And obviously I've seen a hell of a lot of change over the last 18 years, namely that being that the internet obviously exploded and people went online and the whole recruitment process has changed so much. So I've shifted from being agency to in-house to training to this is really what I'm doing now. I'm wanting to fix the human connections between hiring managers, HR and recruiters, because I think the problem with those three and the working in silos, lack of communication is actually what's causing a poor candidate experience. So I do that through the mastermind program I run with recruiters and the facilitation that I do with those three people. And of course, I'm author of the Robot Proof Recruiter, which is just... It was such an honor to be asked to write that. It blows my mind. And it's been really well received. And I'm very grateful to everyone who's purchased a copy. It's been amazing, really amazing.
And it's been brilliant to read through it, actually. And I really want to focus on some of the key things that you talk about in the book, particularly as we navigate this kind of strange post-COVID world of work. And you wrote in the book. So you wrote the book back in 2019. Am I right in thinking?
Yeah. So I sent it in for submission in March 2019 and it came out in August the 3rd. It actually came out on my father's 90th birthday. Amazing. Really randomly, the exact day. And then, of course, the pandemic hit in March. So it's right. I think it carries.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, because at the end of the book, I think you write something around, I wonder what surprise recruiters have got in store. And geez, that came a reality pretty quickly, right? So, and I guess it's really ironic reflecting back now as we start to emerge post-pandemic. The thing that we really missed most, I suppose, is human connection.
Absolutely.
And we've really strived to find ways to do that and had to rely on technology. And I suppose that brings to life this whole theme around technology not replacing human interaction. So I suppose my thoughts on that are that in some ways COVID's had a real positive impact to bring that to life, in that technology can't replace that human connection. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
That's very true. But I'll tell you what else it's done. It's made people very technology savvy who perhaps weren't. So if ever there was even a more important time to focus on candidate experience, it's now. Because a lot of people who'd perhaps been resisting technology were suddenly like, you're using technology because you're working at home and you've now got to dial in and dial in. I sound so old. But you've got to use it to do your job. So people are now even more comfortable surfing the internet, adding comments and doing this sort of stuff. So it's even more important to get the human connection right. And there were a lot of companies that made a lot of mistakes through the pandemic. It was a bit too much for some companies. They overreacted and laid off too many staff. They didn't pay their freelancers. They just, all of this stuff went down. And that's all written on the internet for people to see. So it has made candidate experience so much more important. But also, you're absolutely right. It really did prove to people, gosh, I really do miss that connection. I'm a very loud introvert and I love working in my own space. But you get to a point where you're like, I really like to hug somebody. I really need to see someone physically in person and feel their energy. And I'm seeing a lot of people who are also, interestingly, more on the introvert side than the extrovert, going back and connecting with people and just like, oh gosh, I've really missed the ease of being able to converse with you in person and the energy that's involved. So yeah, interesting. But also I think people are going to be very demanding with what they want going forward as well. And people are like, I'm not going to commute. I'm not going to do that sardine can in from Reading into London anymore. Forget it. So interesting times ahead still.
It is. And that's a really interesting point, because I think, for PSI's clients, we're seeing a lot of people who are, awash with candidate applications for all sorts of jobs, maybe not for the right reasons, actually, just because people need a job, because there are so many people who have, unfortunately been made redundant. And there's also industries who are just struggling to find people out there. Well,
even hospitality, loads of people have left hospitality. They're just gone and found something else to do. And they're like, they can't hire. I'm seeing the same thing. So my clients are complaining they're really struggling to hire. You'll also see recruiters struggling to hire recruiters, which has been quite interesting, because I feel some left the industry. They probably woke up and went, oh gosh, I'm burning out, because it's a tough job.
Sure.
It really is, that sitting in the middle, sort of getting swatted down by the hiring manager and swatted down by candidates. It's tough, and it's been a really tough period of time. But yeah, they're struggling because, of course, again, a bit of knee-jerk reaction, laid off recruiters. Now they're trying to hire again, and companies are struggling. But yeah, it just across the board. It's quite interesting. So any companies that are listening to this who are being quite arrogant, who are thinking, oh, there are thousands of people available, there probably aren't. It is time to start getting a bit realistic with the job descriptions and what are you really looking for, and you're making sure that you're not looking for a unicorn, because it's surprisingly, you think it would be saturated with people, but it's not.
Yeah, and I feel like organisations are learning a lot about that and what they need as well, and maybe in that point now of going, what we thought we needed didn't help us last year in any way, and so we really need to rethink what we need as an organisation as we rebuild and re-energise for the future.
And I also would love to see some compassion for people who perhaps had been working for 5 or 10 years, lost their jobs, haven't been able to secure another one. Now, that mightn't be a fault of their own. That could be they haven't searched for a job in 5 to 10 years. And the world of recruitment has changed so much in that time that a lot of them don't even know where to start. They are just literally sending in CVs and hoping that someone picks it up. Or it can be ageism as well. Sure. And it's just, as someone, I've been very vocal about having turned 50 and the shock of the number says 50, but in my head I feel 30. I think we're overlooking some really amazing people as well. So I do hope that some people just put themselves in their shoes. Like, how would I have felt, having lost my job in that time, probably through no fault of their own, at being a bit older, not having looked for a job in 5 to 10 years. So I do hope companies just be a little bit more aware of their biases and a little bit more open and just give people a chance, because it's, for some people, they're really having a tough time.
If this discussion is making you think about how you engage your candidates through your recruitment processes, you might be interested to hear more about Hire. Our modular solution enables you to add as much or as little technology as possible to your recruitment process. Engage your candidates from the outset by providing company and role information, letting them know what life is really like working for you, using your own branding, imagery, and videos. With 6 assessment modules to choose from, you can go beyond ability as a screening tool, getting insights into values and culture match, personality and work style, language fluency, and situational judgment. You can use engagement screens to explain the application and assessment processes, with clear timelines and links to practice online tests, as well as setting up automated candidate feedback for your volume recruitment campaigns, ensuring that even when you have greater candidate numbers, that applicants still get something back from you to either help with their onboarding or future job applications. Whether you're managing 20 or 20,000 candidate applications, Hire gives your candidates a great experience and gives you the data you need to quickly and effectively make hiring decisions. Head over to psionline.com/talent to find out more. It's been a really difficult time, hasn't it, for so many people for lots of different reasons. And I think, layering onto this, it's not just COVID, of course, but, this sort of notion that we're recruiting for skills for jobs that don't even exist. All those jobs in the future that we don't even know what they're going to be yet, but we know that they're coming.
No.
We're not quite sure what skills we need, but we know there's a skills shortage. And this sort of major shift in the job market layered onto this kind of recovery phase as well. And
I have really noticed, because the mastermind I run is like a 12-month program for recruiters, and it's all about the human skills. And it's really interesting. If you look at the marketplace, there's sort of technology training, there's sourcing training, there's marketing training. There's no human skills training. But the more curious they become, the more trustworthy, the more fearless they become, the more they can influence, the more they've got empathy and compassion, which is what they develop amongst the others through the 12 months, the better they are at their jobs. And those skills are fully transferable to any job. And it's quite interesting how we just seem to have focused so much on technology. And maybe we should just take a breather, take a step back.
Absolutely. And I think
let's focus on
technology-wise, what really resonated with me from your book is this idea of kind of efficiency and automation being almost two separate concepts. Recruiters really having to sit back and question, what is the value of this technology to my end-to-end recruitment process? And there were kind of two areas that I wanted to hone in on, really, specifically to candidate experience. And that was around realistic job previews and also what you've termed candidate closure in the book, which I just love that analogy. So if we start with the job previews, you talk about the value of realistic job previews in the deselection. And so just wondered if you could give your kind of top tips on how organizations can achieve that.
Oh my God, be real. Stop pretending you're something you're not. If you think about really super polished videos that might come from the C-suite talking about how the company is, and people go, I don't believe that. People don't want that. They want to hear from the person in the job. They want it to be really real. You can record it on your phone. It doesn't need to be over-edited. Like we were talking about, do we leave the ums and ahs in our podcasts? Yeah, of course we do, because that's normal, right? And it's just keep it really real. Don't try and be a company that's mega diverse if you are 99% white. Like it's that sort of stuff. Be really genuine. And then that gives people a chance to choose. So if I know that the company is 99% male, and I'm coming in as the female, I can go, okay, I'm cool with that. I can see that's what it is. I'm okay with that. Or, I'm not. I'm going to take myself out of the process. You save yourself so much money in the long run. Just be genuine, because you know what? They're going to find out. They're going to write crappy reviews on the internet and all that sort of stuff. I mean, have a look at the press this morning with Brewdog. Brewdog come across as all amazing and we're doing this for the environment. Yet the staff tell a very, very different story. And that's all in the press this morning. So it always comes out. So just be genuine, because we're going to find it out. And unfortunately, I think sometimes corporate comms can be very suffocating with that, because they want to put on this very polished edge to it. It doesn't work, because people then start and go, oh my gosh, it's not like that. And they leave. So it's better to be real up front, and then you will have higher retention as well as, more successful recruitment.
And I think
just be real.
That candidate experience is right from that initial open up the website, isn't it? And see, what's this company all about, right through to applying for something and then actually going through an assessment process and getting that feedback. It's that complete end-to-end experience. And I think, sometimes we don't consider that, the length of that process and all of the different touch points that candidates have with organizations.
And also because if you're recruiting people who have skills that are in demand, they have choice. So they don't have to work for you. They don't have to reply to you. They don't have to do anything, because they've got skills that are in demand. So take a developer. There's something like 5 job vacancies for every developer in London. They do not have to work for you. They can do what they want. Mind you, the majority of them will take a job by a referral. Like they won't even speak to recruiters. There's such an us and them going on. It's quite hilarious. But they will look as well, and it's quite natural. But you've also got to watch, if you've got a product, they can tell other people, oh gosh, don't buy from them. I had a bad experience through the recruitment process. The cost to the bottom line for mistreating people. And fundamentally, that's what it is. Some of the reason I wrote the book was I just feel like it used to be, oh, Hi, Catherine, this is Katrina. Can we chat about a job? I just call you and you'd answer your phone and we'd talk. Now it's like, oh, here are 16 bits of technology for you to get through just to apply. It's become so complicated.
Off, doesn't it? Just that, we're not going to
bother.
bother.
It does. So it's just simplify it, be very genuine, and treat people as you would want to be treated. As an added little bonus from the pandemic, this sounds wrong, but a lot of recruiters got massively mistreated last year. They discovered what it was like to be a candidate. And it was really eye-opening. You'd see these posts like, I'm being ghosted, I'm being this, I'm being that. Well, yeah, welcome to life on the other side. And I do really pray that they go back into work and remember that.
Absolutely.
And that they just treat others as you want to be treated.
And manners. That's again, that's that sort of analogy, that it's almost like a dating, I think that's what you talk about in your book, is this dating analogy. You go on your first date and then you don't hear back, and then they ghost you and they don't reply, and it's that same thing. You've submitted a CV, you've done some sort of assessment, and then you don't hear anything. And that was the sort of second point I wanted to pick up on. Where are organizations succeeding in that closure piece?
Anyone that perhaps goes into the Circle Back initiative, who of course I now can't think of his name, Steve Gard. That's so annoying when you picture someone's face. So he started the Circle Back initiative, which is free to join, where they will say, I will go back to every single applicant. And they mean applicant. It's every single person. There are so many different schools of thoughts on that. Some people are like, oh, I'm really overloaded with applications. I can't possibly. Well, you can even just change your email signature to a rejection notification and reply. Of course, there's also the people saying that there is AI to get through and the ATS to get to the recruiter. No, there's always a human being involved. That's not true. So again, set it and be reasonable. But also, if you are getting inundated with applications, one, look at your job description. Perhaps it's too open, make it narrower so that, you're not asking, or it's not too broad, you know what I mean? So that's why you're getting such a big pool of people applying. But even still, if you do reject someone, send them somewhere, give them something useful, make it personal. Hi, Catherine, thank you. I know you spent time doing this. Look, you haven't got through this time, but here's some job search tips, or have a look behind the scenes of our company, or, this is what I would do if I was in your shoes. Kind regards, Katrina Collier. Not this faceless talent acquisition team hiding, faceless human being. And they, even if it's a no, they'll feel like they had some connection. But you have to close people.
Absolutely.
Now, there are some people who'll go through the interview process who just literally don't want the feedback. But I think I talk about, it's Mark Mansour who shared this one with me. I'm sure it's in the book. See, again, I wrote it a while ago. But he talks about, he'll send an email saying, I have feedback for you. If you want it, book a time in my diary. So then actually some people go, actually, I don't want the feedback, because they realize they've screwed up or they're not interested or whatever. But it's giving them the options, and then they can sit down and have 5-10 minutes of, hey, this is what you could do better. Because that bit of feedback could change someone's life.
And that's something that we're really trying to push on our kind of, I say, automated system, but it's giving that just an automated feedback, not just a faceless email, but actually, here's where you did really well, here's where you could improve, and actually help someone, even if they've not been successful in that particular job, but to understand where they might improve for another job or something. Something tangible to take away.
You can't possibly, if you're going through 100 CVs, you can't possibly go back and personalize it to every single person, but you can give them something to look at. Hey, we've got some great blogs around this, or we've done this video series of, hey, if you're interested, go have a look. Here's some advice of, how you get a job at our company, this sort of stuff. And it's so easy to do all of that. The technology is available.
And that's exactly where it comes to be an enabler, doesn't it? Rather than a sticking block. So I'm going to finish on a really big question. I'm going to go with it. What are the 3 key things that you think organizations should prioritize now for recruiting in this kind of new world of work?
Get back to basics. Like that to me, it's really hard because, you could be quite a small company or you could be a huge company. So it's like, but just get back to basics. And I'm going to go and apply for a job at my competitor and see what the process is like and see how I'm treated, just as a nice reminder of what it feels like to put yourselves in the shoes of an applicant and just how horrible it can be, and how it can really impact someone's self-worth, if not their mental health. And it's just, so do that, like a bit of empathy and compassion. You get back to basics. Actually step through your own process as well. Is it possible we have technology in the way that's actually just doing stupid stuff? So, for example, my sister, 20 years of experience as a event director, event manager. She's done everything. She decides she wants a job. She's had enough of running her own business. Do you have a degree? No, rejected. She's got 20 years of hands-on experience. She doesn't need a degree. So, do you need that box? Do you really need it for that role? Are you the same with like the ban the box campaign with the criminal records? Do you really need that? Does it really, so then they have a look at that. So I'm at 2, aren't I? That's 2. And obviously I'm going to say something like join something like a mastermind, ramp up your human skills. Invest in yourself. I think a lot of it comes back to recruiters almost feeling very, very stressed. Sometimes out of their depth, sometimes just feeling like they haven't got support from other people. Go and find that support and find that people that are going to help you be better at what you're doing and feel good about yourself. Because when we get to place someone in a role, it's magical, but we spend a lot of time rejecting each other, rejecting people and getting beaten up, that it can really, really undermine our self-esteem. So, I set the mastermind up off the back of the book. I didn't expect it. Didn't expect it to do what it did. But watching these recruiters really grow and feel good about themselves again, because we just play such a pivotal role in a company, but we get a bit beaten down. So, for heads of TA listening to this, invest in your people.
Invest in your people and
less on the tech, more on the human.
And use that tech for the right reasons, not just because it's there.
Reasons. Make it a nice, smooth process, but you won't know unless you go and walk through it.
Great tip.
Walk through your competitors, walk through yours, see what's going on.
Really great practical takeaway. Well. Thank you very much. I think it's just a really exciting time to have this conversation, isn't it? As we're kind of rebuilding. There's a big spotlight on the labour market generally at the moment. So it's really, really exciting. So thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. All of your insight and practical tips. I know they're going to be enormously helpful to our listeners. So thank you.
Good. Thank you.
If you would like to hear more about the solutions discussed in today's podcast, or you would like to join a future podcast discussion, please visit psionline.com/talent. Thank you for listening.